You are listening to the Casting Shadows podcast. Expect role-playing games and not much else. For this, the 26th day of RPG A Day 2021, I am choosing to do the prompt Theory. The 4 prompts today are Theory, Play, Origin, and Renew. And I have things that I could share about each of them, particularly Origin. But the mood to respond to Theory is upon me now, and now is the time I have to respond. So, here we go. There are so many things that fall under the umbrella of a prompt like Theory that I have neither the time nor the interest in listing them. But I imagine we'll see more than a few of those options today. For me, I want to take a look at a particular part of a particular game and how its rules and procedures can be interpreted from 2 different perspectives to yield 2 different results. Over the past few years, I've spent quite a bit of time with Star Trek Adventures. This game is notable for a number of reasons, but today, the one I will choose is the section, Chapter 6, Subsection 4, which handles the scientific method. Over the course of 3 campaigns, this set of rules did not see as much use as I had hoped it would when I pitched them to each group. But that really had a lot more to do with me than to any of those groups. It had a lot more to do with the nature of the episodes I ended up framing for the players rather than how they chose to react to those episodes. That said, those rules got used in longhand and shorthand form. They got used explicitly and implicitly, and they certainly got used a lot more than things like the rules for combat. If there's anything that draws me to a Star Trek game in general, and Star Trek Adventures in particular, it is the varied ways that what amounts to a mystery may be presented and in return be approached for a solution. In brief, Star Trek Adventures lays out the scientific method in steps that involve character collaboration and the use of dice. The first step is the collection of information. This is the observation step. The second step sees the group brainstorming possibilities and selecting a few for specific research. This is the hypothesize step. And the final step is where the dice come back into play to determine if the group can figure out which of their hypotheses will be of use and how long it will take to reach a workable theory to apply to whatever problem the ship or whatever is facing. This is the testing stage. As written, these rules allow for failure at interesting points. The crew might not acquire the information they need in order to form useful hypotheses. They might run into problems in the testing phase, which slow them down so much that they're forced to handle their problems in other ways, or on a more reactive footing, or that they end up unable to address them at all before it's too late. Where they do not allow for failure is in the hypothesis phase. This is very clever, I find, and keeps the game moving in what can become a very abstract part of this part of play. If the group cannot form a single hypothesis that is relevant to the problem, the GM gets to take a point of threat and inform the group that they need to go back to the observation step. That way, players are able to act and interact with each other, act and interact with the environment and the dice, and they can do so with the context of what ideas are definitely not fruitful routes of investigation. As written, these rules require the GM to have an understanding of the problem facing the characters and to be able to match their hypotheses, the ones that the players are concocting, to that understanding. This is referred to as knowing the right way to reach the working theory. And right way here has nothing to do with railroading or dictating how the players approach gathering information or what they do with the information. This relates only to preparation itself, either for improvisation or for presentation. It allows the game master to introduce the idea that the characters are on the wrong track, without that being an arbitrary decision. As written, the rules, the game, expects you to prepare the problem. But because of the way the system works, it doesn't really expect you to prepare the solution. Another way to approach all of this is to simply bypass the rule of the GM having that right way to reach the working theory. In this alteration of the rules, the GM would pay attention to all of the hypotheses, but then choose one that strikes them as the best by whatever criteria they choose to assign, such as criteria that fit that specific mission or adventure. If we were to theorize about the outcomes of these two approaches, we can, I think, quickly reach the assessment that the rules as written allow the players to experience the investigation on the character level, to experience the doubt of an investigation in progress, the challenge of sorting through clues and research data, and the thrill of small and large successes along the way toward their solution, while simultaneously allowing the GM the thrill of seeing the investigation make sense to the players and seeing them devise their unique solution to the problem. In contrast, by removing the step of a prepared objective truth about the reality of the problem facing the characters, the players may or may not experience any of that. They might not be able to notice any difference at all, or they might find that the experience is somewhat flat or lacking in resistance or challenge, particularly in the long run after several iterations of it. What is interesting to consider is why this variation exists in the second method, and why the rules may have been written to support the first. The answer might not be what we think, kind of like theory itself. You've been listening to the Casting Shadows podcast, and thank you for taking the time. Through the month of August, each episode, each day, is a response to the RPG a Day initiative, a marathon that takes us through one prompt a day for each of the 31 days of August, with the intention of speaking positively and encouragingly about this hobby, which we must love because we keep doing it. RPG a Day 2021 is the 8th year of this event, and it's my 6th year as one of the organizers. So I do hope that you are enjoying it. I do hope that you're finding other posts out there that interest you, and that you let the people who made those posts know that you listened and you enjoyed what they contributed. Until tomorrow, take care.